Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF, GITTEN Ayin. We are holding right on top of the Amid and actually concluding our list of various refu'os, remedies for various ailments. We're going to have 25 in total. We have gone through 23. There are 2 remaining. Says the Gemara, L'chazi zasa. When a person's suffering from some sort of shechin, Rashi calls it yalefes, some blisters, which are moist on the outside, dry on the inside. What is the refuah for this? Laise he should bring shev chite arzan yasa, 7 plump wheat kernels, v'neklinu amarachadata, roast them inside of a new shovel, v'nafish mishcha minayu, and the moisture which exudes from these kernels, he should take it v'neshef and apply it to his blisters, and that will take care of it. Rav Shimi bar Ashi, Avadle, he applied this remedy, lahu oived gechav l'davar achar, a guy who was experiencing tzaras. He applied this cream v'itase, and he was healed. Amar Shmuel, Haiman de mochule ba'aloin chede farsoi, if one was struck by a Persian spear which is tipped with poison, michya loichaye, he can forget about living. However, he can prolong his life slightly at the hachi v'hachi. In the meantime, in order to prolong his life a bit, nispele bisro shemena, they should feed him fatty meat, agumre, roasted on coals, v'cham rachaya, and sharp, undiluted wine. This will prolong his life a bit. Efshar d'chayi purta, perhaps he'll live a bit longer. Mfakad abese, have a chance to instruct his family and write his will. Omar vida bar abin hayman de blal zibura. Likewise, if one swallows a wasp, michile chaye, he will pass away. Adhachi v'hachi, but in the meantime, nashkir v'yasa d'chala shamzuk, they should give him a revius of very sharp, strong vinegar. Efshar d'chayi purta, mfakad l'besa, perhaps it will prolong his life and give him a bit longer to live, to instruct his family. If one eats meat of an ox together with his vegetable called lefes, very sharp vegetable, velon, and he chooses to sleep in the in moonlight, in the summertime, on the 14th and 15th of the month, he will experience this illness called achilu, which the Gemara will explain soon. Tana, we have another thing which can instigate this sickness from malik kreisi michal davar. He's uncareful in terms of dieting. He just fills himself at will with anything good and appetizing. Echazatoi achilu, he's liable to this achilu illness. Amar papa afilu mitamri. This applies to even overeating dates. Pshita, of course, why would that be different? Perhaps I would think dates are the best food. We learned that there are so many good things about dates. How can they serve to detriment? Tamre mazba, and they satiate, mashachnon, dates warm a person, mashalshon, loosen his bowel movements, and ma'ashron, and strengthen him. V'loim, despite the fact that they're sweet and appetizing, they don't, a person doesn't get sick of them. Perhaps such a positive food cannot bring to any sickness. Kamashmon, the chiddush is overdoing anything can harm a person. My achilu, how do we define this achilu condition? Amar blazer ish shalat samis, burning bones. My ish shalat samis, what is that? By ish garme, some sort of internal bone-related fever. My asute, what is the antidote to this illness? Amar Abai, Amar li aim, my mother caretaker told me, kula shakyana, all types of liquid medicines have a prescription. Tlasa, some are to be taken for 3 days, Vishiva or 7, Vitresa or 12, Vahai, but the remedy for this achilu is just ongoing. There's no prescribed date, Adimitasi, until he's fully healed. Another difference, Kula Shakyona Liba Rekara, typically medicine is taken on an empty stomach, Vahai, but this medicine for the achilu, just the opposite. Pastor the Achal Vashasi, after he finished eating and drinking, Va'ilbes Akisa, and he relieved himself, and after Mashal went out and washed his hands, and then he engages in the refuah for this sickness. Umaisele buna the sisa the talpachi, they bring him a fistful of a buna, a dish made of lentil flour mixed with salt, ubuna de chamratika, and a fistful of old wine, v'degbalinu b'adadi, you should mix them together, v'nechol, and have it to eat. V'lichrech b'sadine, after he's done, he should wrap himself with his sheets, v'nigne, and have a nap. V'leik noikme, nobody should wake him. Adakoi b'nafshe, until he wakes himself. Because the point is that his sleep will warm him up and bring him to sweat, which will help him sweat off this sickness. V'chikoy, and in fact, when he gets up, lishkalis dinimine, should have his sheets removed from him, v'loi, because otherwise, hadr ilovei, the machla, the sickness, can come back to him. Okay, so we're done the sugya of refois for certain machlas, specific remedies for specific conditions, but going forward, the Gemara will shift a bit and provide us with general medical advice on how to preserve our health and strengthen ourselves. Amrle Eliyahu Navi turned l'Rabbi Nosson. He says like this: Echol shlish, when you sit down to have a meal, fill only a third of your capacity. Ushsei shlish, the next third should be filled with liquid, but leave the last third available. Vahanach shlish, leave the last third open. Likishaticha, because if you get upset and agitated, that will fill the rest of your stomach. Tamid amilu echa, it will bring you to your full capacity, your full fill. And therefore, leave room for that as well. A person wants to protect himself from any intestinal elements. What should he do? He should be accustomed to dipping into vinegar, dipping his bread into wine. During summer and winter. Next, there's a good meal before you, and you're attracted to it. Watch out. Eat with moderation. Pull back before you're fully full. They say that if a person doesn't fill himself to the capacity, it actually adds to his health. That's what the doctors say today, and it prolongs his life. And as Shash Chachamim advise us accordingly. Be careful, don't fill yourself to capacity. And when you feel a need to relieve yourself, don't hold back. If a person drinks this really bad white wine, he's gripped by this vitak, this condition which is a weakening condition. In fact, there are 60 levels in wine. The best one is Sumaka Rechasana, the red, good smelling wine. Griya the worst of all is Tilya Chivara, this white wine that we just mentioned. If a person decides to sit near the fire to warm up in the mornings of Nisan, V'shayif Mishchanim, smears himself with oil, V'nafik B'shimsha, and then goes out in the sun, vitak, he ends up with this weakened state called vitak. Tan Rabban hikis dam, a person lets his blood, v'shimesh mitas, and then engages with his wife, having lambanim vitkin. Any children born from that interaction are liable to this vitak, weakened condition. Hikizu shneim v'shimshu, they both did the same thing. They did hakaza sadam, and then they interacted with each other as married. Having lambanim bali rasan, and it's even worse. Their children will be even more severely weakened. Omar Papa Lo Yamar, when is this a concern? Only El Deloy To'am Midi, if he had nothing to eat between the Hakaza and the Tashmish. Aval To'am Midi, if he had something to eat in between, less Lamad, there's no concern. Omar Rabba Barav Huna, Baman Aderach V'Shemesh Mitasai. A person engages with his wife as married, after coming back from a long journey, when he's in a weakened state, Havin Lan Ban and Bitkim, it affects his children. Tanar Rabban, Habban Besak Kisei. After a person exits the Beis HaKisei, he should take a pause before doing Tashmish, Al Yishamish Mitasai Ad Sheyisha, until he waits. Shir Chatzi Mil, time that it takes to walk a half a mil. Because there's an evil spirit accompanying him out of the Beis HaKisei, you don't want to affect your offspring. But if you're uncareful on this, will affect his children and may experience the nichve condition, which means they're liable to collapsing. Says the Gemara, if one engages in tashmish in an upright position, obvious, he will have the obvious sickness which causes him to tremble. If he does so in a sitting position, he's gripped by the dalaria sickness. If she's above him, same story. My dalarya, what exactly is this? Amar Shimon Levi, Sam dalarya hu dardara. The antidote, the medicine for dalarya is dardara. Umay dardara amar Abaye marika de. You take some of the charkaim plant, which grows in a field filled with thorns, and that is a refuah for the dalarya sickness. Rav Papa also balalei. How would Rav Papa ingest this medicine? He would chew it and then swallow it. Rav Papi olis v'shadalei, he would chew it and then spit it out. Amar Abaye, misha eni boke b'derech eretz. If a person doesn't have that physical ability to engage as married with his wife, how does he regain that ability? Laise tlaska fizi, should bring 3 containers which have the capacity of 3 lug per container. What are they filled with? Kurtmei dechaychi, this charkaim vegetable, this charkaim plant, which grows in a very fertilized field. V'nedekinu, and he should grind them and cook them with wine and have that as a drink. Rabbi Yehuda, it really works. These actually restored me to my youth in terms of the ability to do tashmish. There are 3 things which weaken a person and harm his health. These are the 3 things. Pachad, worry. Derech, traveling a lot. V'avain, and worry about averos that a person may have done. Pachad, tichsiv, as the pasuk says, libi secharchar, azavani koichi. Secharchar relates to being surrounded with worry and anxiety, and that affects a person's power and strength. Derech, travel. Tichsiv, the pasuk says, ina b'derech koichi. So we see derech weakens a person. And finally, avain tichsiv kashal b'avani koichi. Shloisha dvarim, there are 3 things matizim which remove gufi shel adam, which basically means are detrimental to one's health. Ve'eluhein achal mu'ubad, eating in a standing position. V'shasam mu'umad, drinking likewise standing up. V'shimesh metasam mu'umad, and tashmish standing. Chamisha kroivim umisa yosef benachayim. The following 5 things, if one engages in them, it can bring him closer to death than to life. It can be severely detrimental. He gets up immediately after having a meal. Shasav Amad, immediately after drinking. He gets dumb Amad. He gets up. Yasham Amad, jumps out of bed. Oishimish Mitasav Amad, jumps up right after Tashmish. Shisha, the following 3 things. If one engages in these 6 activities, immediately he'll die. They are so weakening, and that cumulative effect can actually bring him to dying. What are these 6 things? He came back from a long trip, and he was totally exhausted. And then he proceeded to do Hakazas Hadam, Hikizdam. And then he went into the bathhouse, which was a very exhausting experience in those days. Vishasav Nishtaker, and then went and got drunk. Yashnal Gabekarka, took a nap on the floor. Vishimish Metasa, and finally did Tashmish. And then bingo, his life's over. Rabbi Yehuda, Musha son Kisidron, that's only if he did it in this order, it has that same cumulative effect, which can kill him. Amar Abaye, Kisidron mates. In fact, I corroborate Rabbi Yehuda's approach. If it was done in this sequence, it brings Misa, but even Shalei Kisidron, done out of order, it will still have a detrimental effect on his state of health, Chalish. It will weaken him. Aini, is that so? That only 6 in order bring Misa? We had a woman whose name was Mu'uras, okay? Abdullah Abda Tlas Minayu. She had her slave do 3 of these things, Umis, and he died after only 3 experiences. And here we say you need all 6 to bring that result. The answer is Ahu Kachash Hava. That evidence was weak to begin with, and therefore he was affected by only 3 things. Says the Gemara Shmoina, the following 8 things, Ruban Kasha, doing them excessively, can be detrimental to one's guf. Umiyotan Yafa, but in moderation, it's okay. What are these 3 things? These 8 things. Derech, travel. V'derech eretz, tashmish hamita. Oisher, wealth. Umalacha, and exercise. Yain v'shena, sleep, and drinking wine. And chamen, hot water for bathing and drinking. Hakaz hadam, all these things are good if they're done in moderation and not overdone. Shmoyna mamata masazara, there are 8 things which will diminish a person's zera. Ve'eluhein, eating salt, hamelach v'arav, fasting, v'nesak, the tzaras experience, b'chia, crying, v'shein al gavakako, sleeping on the floor, v'gud gagonyes, some sort of growth, v'chishus, and hops, He eats hops. That's what you make the beer with. Shloi bizmana, if he ate it out of season. Akazas adam lemato kiflaim. And if one does akazas adam, it gives away some blood, taken out of the lower portion of a person, that has a double effect, more than anything else mentioned here, in terms of affecting his zera. Tana, we learned in a brayso, it has the flip side too. Just like akazas adam in the lower portion of the guf is memayit zera to this extent, kach lamalo, kach yafa lamalo kiflaim. Likewise, if it's above the waist, it can actually have a bonus effect in terms of increasing his zera. Amar Papa, what does lamata mean? Lamata min abeitzim, below the beitzim of the zachar. Lamala means lamala min abeitzim, anywhere above the beitzim. Vikishu shalib izmano. So we spoke about this hops, which is ingested out of season. Tana, we learned in a brayso that there's a flip side there as well. Kashem shekashash shalib izmano, just like eating it out of season is no good. Kachayav bizmano, likewise, having it in season is great, in terms of having a positive effect on the zera. Amra Papa, what is considered the season? Zmana means Tammuz, during the Tammuz month. Shleb Zmana is Teves, in the heat of winter. What about Yomi Nisan, Yomi Tishrei, sort of the spring and fall? Leimalov Leikashu. In that case, it's just benign. It doesn't really help, nor does it harm. Okay, let's move back to the sugya of GITTEN. That's how we got into this whole discussion. We had the story of the fellow who was overcome by grape juice, and he invited this Kurdiakis Sheit by doing so, and it affected his judgment, and therefore we can't take his word for it when he instructs us to give a get. Amar Kis get liishti. Likewise, if he told us to give a get when he was healthy, and then he was gripped by this Kurdiakis experience, then he reverts, he changes his mind. Don't write the get. We ignore that. We ignore those last words because it wasn't done with proper judgment. He doesn't have that das, that yishuv das, that focus, that clarity. And therefore what he said earlier stands. We give the get. The question is, do we wait until he gets healthy again, or can we give the get now? So we have that mandate, right? From his pre-Kurdiyakas state. What he says now we ignore, but can we give a get on behalf of a person who's experiencing this malady? Go ahead, write the get, give it right away, no problem. You have the instructions, you have the mandate, give it. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, true, we have the mandate, but you can't give it on his behalf if he's in this condition. You must wait until he reverts back to his proper health, in which case he's a bar das, and then we can give the get on his behalf. What's the machlekes about? My Talmud Rish Lakish, who says that we give it even now. Look, the Mishnah says so. On Sunday he said give the get. On Monday he became all phased, right? All confused from this thing, right? And he canceled the get. We ignore that cancellation. We give the get. Which sounds like we give it now, even though he's currently still gripped by that illness. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Lach, he responds, yeah, ein bedvarav hachrenu klum means lechi mitzel, when he regains his composure. We don't have to go back and ask him again. We already have that authorization. But in terms of actually writing the get, we have to wait. Of course you have to wait until he gets healthy again. So that's in terms of how to learn the lashon of the Mishnah. But still, what's the machlekes about? Why would you give it in this state? Why would you not give it? What's the machlekes? But my kamiflagi answers the Gemara Shlakish Medam Eliyash. Shlakish says, just like you can give a get on behalf of a person who happens to be sleeping now, he's still a bar das. He's currently, in a semi-conscious mode. He's not fully awake. He's not fully aware. Okay, but he's still a bar das. You can still get for him if you authorized you to do it for him. Same thing with this fellow. Even though he's not biyushav adas, doesn't have that proper balance and that proper focus, he's not worse than a yashin. Rabbi Yehuda, he says, well, he's closer to a deranged person. It's more than just a lack of clarity. There's a severe mental imbalance right now within him. So true, we can remedy it. There's a antidote, there's a refuah, but currently speaking, he's like a shaita who cannot divorce his wife. So we have to wait. Why would Rabbi Yehuda not compare him to a sleeping man? Big difference. It doesn't take much to wake up a sleeping man. You don't have to give him any remedies or any medicines. It's part of the natural, cycle. There's a wakeful state and a sleeping state. But this fellow, he's not going to get healthy again on his own. You have to treat him, you have to take care of him, give him that refuah, turn him back healthy. Until you do that, he's like a shaita. He's in a different state, which doesn't allow him to give a get, or have a get given on his behalf. No, so why doesn't Rish Lakish treat him like a shaita? Is there any difference between him and a shaita? Big difference. Shaita lo samya b'yadan. A shaita, a mentally unstable person, that's it. Nothing we can do about him. We can't hail him. Hi samya b'yadan. But here we have the we have the remedy. Bisra sumka, right? The red meat, a gumri, barbecued on coals, v'chamer marka, that diluted wine. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So if you have the potential to very easily put him back on track, so it's just a very superficial condition that he's experiencing, but he's essentially a sane person. Asks the Gemara. So bottom line is that according to Rabbi Yehuda, he's comparable to a shaita who's mentally unbalanced, and therefore we can't give a get on his behalf until he gets back on track. Is that so? So if a person's two simanim, the windpipe and the esophagus was shechted, chas v'shalom, or most of them, so he's pretty close to death, but he's technically still alive. V'ramaz, so he wasn't able to actually speak and communicate, so he hinted. V'amar, by saying kisfu get li ishti, right? Please give a get to my wife. Hareli yichtav v'yitnu. So yeah, they can quickly get the get going, even though it's certain that he's getting progressively weaker and weaker by the minute, by the second. By the time they give the get to his wife, he's going to be in a severe weakened state. With Tanya, in fact, we have another brisa. Ra'u meguyi deit salav alat sliva. Lo yalena, to see a person all cut up, hanging on a tree, on a cross, whatever. So anyways, he was totally, he's critically wounded. V'ramaz v'amar kisvu get li ishti. And the same thing, he hinted, he made a remez, please write a get. Hareilu yichtav v'yitnu. So the get can be written and given. He's not in a proper state of mind. Why is he different than the Kurdiyakus, who cannot give a get according to Rabbi Yehuda? Answers the Gemara. Big difference. How do you compare? Hasam dat tziglusai. Mentally, he's all there. Right? He's fully clear. But certainly, he's already very weakened, and it's progressively getting worse and worse. But in terms of his mental ability to understand and to communicate, he's all there. And he can authorize an asinas haget on his behalf. As opposed to the Kurdiakis fellow. His mind is mebulbul, Rashi says. And therefore, this state of das, this mental state, is not sufficient for authorizing a get, or for having a get given on his behalf. Umi Amar Shmuel Hachi. Now the Gemara is going to ask a kasha on Shmuel, who says that you can write a get on behalf of a person who's precariously close to death. We have another halacha of Shmuel. Shachad b'shnaim, Rev Shnaim, the same type of situation. Ubarach. And then this person somehow escaped his attackers. Me'idin alav. So anybody who witnessed the scene can come to Bezdin and testify that the husband passed away because it's certain that he's going to die. Right? Now, a minute ago we say that a person, even in this really severely injured state, is considered alive in terms of authorizing a get on his behalf. So how can Adam come to Bezdin and say this person died? They never saw him mace. He was technically alive. He was halachically fully alive. Well, says the Gemara, of course, but ultimately he's going to die. Amri, the answer is Chayu. Of course, currently he's alive and can authorize a get. But he's very quickly, very soon going to die, and therefore that's enough. That is sufficient grounds for the testimony to Bezdin that he died. Says the Gemara, one more kash. If that's the case, that a person who was injured in this way, death is certain. So suppose a person inflicted this damage inadvertently, b'shogeg. And as we know, if a person kills b'shogeg, he goes to the Ir Miklat. He runs away to those cities of refuge. So if doing a shchita on a person like this constitutes death, because it brings certain death, if it was on b'shogeg, galus should be applied. Alamatanya, so why do we learn otherwise? Shachat b'shnaim, orev shnaim, hareza einay gaila. There's no galus for this perpetrator. Why not? Answers the Gemara, you know what? Of course, it's called an act of murder. But when it comes to shogeg, there's a special requirement. It had to have been done directly. The perpetrator had to have been the sole cause of his death. But if there's any other contributing factor, then we consider it like a grama. It's just like a causation, and it doesn't mandate golus. We have a Gemara which explains that perhaps the wind that was blowing through his wounds, they triggered his death. Inami, or hukirivas misasai, the fact that he was, jumping around, moving around in pain, writhing in pain, that perhaps hastened his death, in which case we have these contributing factors. And the perpetrator isn't solely responsible, and therefore gullus is not required. Says the Gemara, my binayu. Okay, so we have two reasons, right? The ruach, or a person's movements. Any difference between the two reasons, meaning a case where one applies and the other not? The difference would be the shachta base of the shisha. If he did this shchita in a fully insulated room, walled with stone, with shayish, so there's no draft, upirchas, but he did jump around, so we have that reason, but not the ruach reason. Inami, or the shachta b'bara. He injured him outside, so we have the ruach factor present, like pirchas, but he remained stationary, so there's no pirchas factor. So that will be enough community between the two reasons. Continues the Gemara. Nishtatik v'amrloi nichter get l'ishtach. By the way, Tosa says that this point of the other contributing factors to his death, diminishing the chiv golus. So Tosa says dafke begolus chashin al hanitami. It's only by golus. He says maybe there's a drasha by golus. The Gemara Makkos, which it tells us that it has to be really a direct misa, as opposed to having other factors involved. When it comes to killing b'mezid, purposely killing somebody, even these factors which are present will not diminish his responsibility. Interesting point in Tosfos. Okay, back to the Gemara. So was the next case in the Mishnah. He wasn't ill, he wasn't unwell, but suddenly turned mute. Can't speak. Should we write a get for your wife? He shakes his head. Yes. Mishnah says, we check him 3 times. regarding all kinds of unrelated questions, and we see that he responds properly. So we take that as an indication of mindfulness and focus, and we trust his gestures. Why? V'leichush. Let's be concerned. Dilma shichya. Shichya means bowing of the head. Shichya de lav nakte. He's suddenly, gripped by this habit of shaking his head back and forth, which appears like he's saying no, but he's not really. He's just moving his head around. Or up and down, appearing like he's acknowledging yes. Maybe he's just doing it out of habit. It's just a mishagas. Maybe it's not necessarily an expression of his real intent. We take a break. We don't just do it, successively. We test him once, we wait a little while, test him again. Perhaps he habitualized himself to nod in this manner, in this time frame. Says the Gemara, we alternate. We discuss with him we ask him one question. Chad, lav, something which requires a no answer. We train hein, and two questions that require a yes answer. So we alternate. We train lav, v'chad hein. And we go to two no's and one yes. So we pick some sort of random pattern, which confirms that in fact he understands and he's communicating. Tvei Rabbi Shmuel Tana, in the Brayse we learned, Amrim loy dvarim shal yimei sachama v'sak sham. We try to trick him, trip him off. We suggest, summer things to him in the winter, and we see how he responds. And winter things in the summer. Mind you, for instance, in terms of wardrobe, we ask him, what about a glufkari? Would you like a real heavy coat today? It's the middle of summer, right? Visadini, we ask him about a thin, garment. Would you like to be covered with a thin sheet? And this is, midwinter. And we see how he responds, and if he's coherent in understanding. Sounds like more, but that isn't necessarily an indication. Perhaps he's gripped by cold, even in the middle of the summer, and he decides he wants a coat. That's reasonable. Or perhaps it's the middle of the winter, and suddenly he's gripped by a fever, by warmth, and he's hot and wants to cool off. So you never know where he's holding. Why is that an indication of anything? Rather, we test him using fruit. We ask him about, out-of-season fruits, whether, they're available. And we see how, if he wants, bananas in the middle of the winter, we know that he's not getting it. But if he's asking and he's responding in a seasonal manner, then we know he's on the money. Taisa says, interesting, that it isn't always an indication because, even out-of-season vegetables can be pickled. So you'll ask him about a cucumber. So yeah, because they have them preserved. So he says that the question relates to picking. Should we pick you a banana? It's in the middle of freezing winter. So then we really understand. We see if he understands really what's going on. Interesting how they would do it today. Nowadays, you can pretty much find every type of fruit every day of the year. So to figure out another a method of testing. Okay, bottom line, we had some refoys, we had some very, very hard advice in terms of how to preserve our health. Basically, the idea is discipline. Eat, drink, and conduct yourself with self-control. That will hopefully, Be'ez Hashem, protect our health. Give us kaiches, 120. We went on to the sugya of the fellow who was achzai kardiyakus. Now, all agree that a yashin, a person while asleep, can have a get given on his behalf. A person who's a shaita cannot. Kardiyakus is somewhere in between. Rabbi Yehuda says he's like a shaita. Shlakish compares him to a yashin. We went on to the next fellow who was nishtatik, and we figured out how to test him out and see that he's all there, which would allow him to authorize Nisina Saket. All the best to you, Hatzlacha Rabbah, and B'Sereis Tayves.